All right, YouTube, we are back again for another video, and I am at the Regal instead of the AMC, so no Hallmark sign behind me, and the setup's a little bit different, but same car. Anyway, it's still late at night. We went on Tuesday, cheap day, so basically exactly a week ago I went to a movie as well, and tonight we saw The Furious. It was between the two. It was between Disclosure Day and The Furious. And it was just like, I just don't care about a new Steven Spielberg movie. Like, I just cannot be asked to care. But anyway, I'm going to try to film this quickly because I'm not sure I'm allowed to be in this parking lot and I may be loitering. But The Furious, dude, this movie, it's one of those things where, like, when you see it's in theaters, you then are interested. It's like, you see all the movies that are in theaters and you've never heard of this one, so you look it up and you're like, oh, this is going to be interesting. And, like, watching the trailer, you just knew what this thing was going to be about, right? So it's just like, obviously, right, it's the trailer, but, bruh, this movie is just from start to finish, like, all hands. And the movie doesn't, like, this movie is literally from start to finish, like, the whole thing. I think if you were to think about, like, the timeline and say, like, did the main character, like, take any time to prep or do whatever, or, like, think about things or anything like that? It's like maybe in the movie they gave him one night and, like, all of a day as he's, like, trying to go to the place where he thinks these people are going to be. And the rest of the movie is literally all hands, all fights, just all gas, no breaks, like dudes fighting kung fu the entire time. And it's not really, it's like, I don't even know. Like, I guess in general, I would just say that the movie was a lot of fun. Going into it, I saw that the reviews had it at, like, somewhere in the 90s. And I will say, like, the plot of the movie is fairly simple, obviously. But, like, as far as the premise of, like, am I about to show up to a sick action film with a bunch of cool choreography and stuff like that, like, I am just freaking giddy about this movie right now because it was just fun, man. Like, it was like 2 hours of just non-stop craziness. And the whole time, right, everything is it's like kung fu, right? So it's not just like people beating on each other. It kind of is, but the other piece of it too is, like, it's like choreographed well, right? But anyway, I'm not gonna sit here and just, like, describe an action movie or a martial arts film and be like, this thing was that and that's awesome, because essentially that's how I feel about it. I wish we had more movies like this. I will say for this movie, I think they had the actors speak English, but then they had English, or people that were more fluent in English, like, dubbed in over them. And I can see why they would do that, I guess. But to be honest, like, just let the people speak however they're able to speak, right? Like, I think in 2026, like, we can handle the subtitles. And this movie has a lot of portions where it does end up using subtitles, and it's probably true that there's a lot of language switching in Southeast Asia. I have no idea, to be honest, but I wouldn't be surprised if, like, a lot of people know English and they use it just because whatever. So I'm not saying that it makes it inauthentic or something like that. That'd be weird, but there's just some goofy parts where it is goofy because somebody's now being weird as hell. This dude really just tried to, anyway, I'm not gonna let that stop me. This movie was fun, but it's an action film. It is what it is. Like, if you're not trying to watch people beat each other up for 2 hours straight, then you're probably not going to want to see this. But if you are interested in something like that, then, like, you probably are going to want to see it. And so to speak about this movie in general, for people that are just wondering, It's basically the plot is like this guy's daughter gets kidnapped, and he witnesses it almost like in front of him, and he tries hard to get them, but he fails. And so he's still like very hot on the chase. So it all happens over the course of like 48 hours. So he's just like, screw it. We're going to hunt these people down. We're going to figure out where she's at. And at the same time, there's a reporter that was investigating the disappearance of all these children in like the human trafficking ring, and she disappears because we see her kind of like kung fu fight literally in the first minutes of the movie, but she gets we think captured, at least could be murked. And so her husband or her significant other is like somebody that is trying to pick up the cold trail and figure out where she's at and figure out, you know, if she's still alive and where she's at. And he also knows kung fu. But then our main character, whose daughter got kidnapped, he knows kung fu, but he's mute because of some mysterious injury that happened in China. And obviously they're not in China right now. And he can't go back there for some reason. Anyway, the movie pretty much happens like you would expect. There are some real goofy ass characters in this movie, and you just have to like them. Like, there's a villain that acts like he's like a cowboy, like American cowboy, almost just as like a goof. And his son is like some giant brute that is like unkillable for some reason, but also kind of dumb. And then the actual villain is like, you know, this stereotypical like rich, well put together guy, but it's got this crazy like human trafficking way of getting his money in the background. And you know, I'm not gonna say like more about the plot really, because it's probably just more fun to watch it than to really explain every little piece of it. But this movie was pretty awesome. There were some pretty awesome fights. There were some interesting situations. I think the two guys playing off each other, being able to have kind of like 2v2 fights or 2v mini fights, actually was, at first when there was a second dude, I was like, is this just gonna get weird or confusing? But no, it actually made it kind of work in a way that it maybe wouldn't have without. So I really enjoyed that. There ends up being this like 2v2, 1v4 battle royale at the end, with the brute being the guy that's like the 1v4, but then the two are still fighting each other. That was pretty nuts. I mean, the plot is kind of goofy, but I hope you're not like coming to like see some very dramatic film, but it was still good though. Yeah, I mean, that's the movie. I just have to say, like, go if you have the chance. I know it's probably hard to see a movie like this because it's in some theaters, it's not in others. I would say, man, like, it's worth the ticket at least, or at the very least, keep it in your mind for when it hits streaming, because it's just something that will be fun to watch on a Saturday afternoon or something like that. So I'm obviously had fun tonight going to see this movie. I'm kind of excited. So with that being said, you know, realistically, the movie, if I'm able to like silo it in this like martial arts action film sort of silo, then I would say that, you know, definitely go see it. And it does probably for me get into like the high 3s, if not a 4, like on action and style alone. Because I was just thinking the whole fight, I'm like, or the whole movie, I'm like, this is like what superhero movies or like live action anime could try to achieve, because this is like the real life version of what people think like martial arts fights in anime, like why they think they're cool. This is like the real life version of that. So if you embellish some things, which they do in the movie, but if you did it even more, so in that aspect is really interesting too. But anyway, I would say that for me, it does actually get into the 4s, because I'm just like watching this movie like, whoa, what the? But I think typically I would not say a movie like this is up there, but I just feel like people got to see this thing. And only if so, because it feels like it's the first one that's been released in a while. Like I'll say I'm like a fake martial arts movie guy because I just be watching clips online. But like this has got me want to just like go watch Ong Bak or something like that. Like I'm like, what do I need to go through the collection of like Jackie Chan, Tony Jaa, Jet Li like type. But anyway, at the end of the day, I think it rates highly. I would say it's a 4 out of 5 for me. Definitely, I think it's worth your time to go see it. And I'm ready to drive home. So I will catch you guys in the next video. Go see The Furious if you want to see it. It was pretty good. But that's it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one.